The Bill O'Brien podcast reaches thousands of BC football fans each week. Your company has the unique opportunity to tap into this upscale audience by becoming a sponsor. Contact Mike Wynn at MWINN@bostoncollegeas.com for more information.
This is the Bill O'Brien podcast with your host, John Meterparel.
Caught past the 25 to the 20 to the 15, goes Bond to the 10 to the 5 towards the end zone and in. Lewis Bond is the Eagle in the end zone.
Producer Ciaccio.
We were using the equipment from like the 1970s when Ciaccio was...
It was the 90s. It was the 90s.
Ciaccio was like
The
hanging out with his neighborhood
gerbil in
buddies.
the back was cranking it up.
Yeah.
The Bill O'Brien podcast, talking BC football, sports, pop culture.
The sun will come up tomorrow, slowly, but it'll come up.
The Bill O'Brien podcast.
Welcome to episode 44 of the Bill O'Brien podcast. For your listening pleasure, well, you get the dynamic duo. They listen for us, Ciaccio. Meet and Ciaccio. Bill O'Brien's on the road. He's big timing us, but
Can I just say, like, people would be amazed at where we are right now doing this podcast? It's like this front end of it.
oh yeah, they would be. This is a luxurious studio.
And this thing is a piece of you-know-what. I mean,
It's
you got to
not.
clean this son of a gun.
It's just a little dirty. He's talking about my car, of course.
No,
Like the govern, of course, for
of
providing the car.
Of course, but you know that Bill's going to be like, Meter, come on.
Oh, of
In
course.
your car?
If he was in here, well,
I mean, there are some Skittles underneath the driver's seat,
I got
think.
some M&Ms. Want some M&Ms?
Yeah, those are nice
Look at this.
melted together.
Yes.
Seriously. Oh
Yes,
my
want
God.
some?
No, I'm good. I'm trying to quit.
Yes.
I'm on a cleanse like
You're on the
Coach.
cleanse. All right, so 44, I think, a few guys. I'm going with number 1, John Stevens, former Patriot
Very
running
good.
back.
Very good.
I know Bill would like that one. I'm going to go with Jason Bay,
Jason Bay.
former Red Sox,
Yeah.
who was a
Was-
big acquisition in
was-
2008.
Was Marion Butts 44 as well?
Marion Butts was not, but he had a running style like you,
Yeah.
a battering ram.
For some reason, I thought he was 44.
Josh was a battering ram. I knew he would. I thought you would go with Nick Boynton.
No, I didn't even, to be completely honest, I totally, abandoned the hockey, mantra and players because
Did you have
Coach
a Boynton jersey?
No, I did not. I probably had a Boychuk jersey. So I'll save that for 55 in 11 episodes.
You probably had a Glenn Murray jersey.
Glenn Murray. Was he?
He was
for
44.
what? Like for a year, right?
3 years.
Glenn Murray's 27, though, right? No.
44 from 92 to 95.
Look at you. You definitely Googled that.
Of course. Well, I have to Google hockey.
What about
to
Red
keep
Sox?
up with you. I just gave you Red
No.
Sox. The number 1, though,
Yes. That's where I was going. That's what I meant.
Escape Kaplan.
He's 44 too in his third
Yes, he
stint
was.
or whatever. What do you have? 4 stints?
44. He was, well, he had a lot of stints with a lot of people, but,
All right,
Gabe and I had the Mutz Ball Society going.
Gabe,
so-
great guy too. By the way, before we get crapped on,
I know what it is. It's Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge.
Yes, of course.
I know you're gonna get
We run through
feedback.
the entire list.
Oh my God.
And then we get to the
Then
number
we
1
get to
guy.
the meat of the
Yes, the
no
meat.
pun intended.
I could take you over to Barry's Deli if you want for some conditions.
That's where we are. We're across from Johnny's. 4 spoons, salt,
Yes.
downtown Newton.
We're in a
Meters-
parking lot.
Meters car.
Last time Ciaccio was in a parking lot, I can't even go there, can I?
So there's no breathing issues on this episode. That's Meters AC.
Yes, it is.
Let's
It's my
put
AC
that out
because it's
there.
a hot 83 degrees on a beautiful Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're giving him inside baseball now, but Ciaccio and I are setting up. What are we setting up, Ciaccio?
Setting up double twos.
What is
so
20?
double twos?
What's
22
22
and
plus
22
22?
is 46, right? No, 44. We talked to the great Doug Flutie, and I know 22 and 22 is 44.
Ciaccio went to Curry, but
We-
he was good at math.
We talked to him back at the alumni golf tournament
Yes.
at Brayburn, and we discussed many topics. One being the vehicle he drove to the tournament.
Yeah, and you were wowed by it.
That
So
was-
so was my son Ben.
That's all I cared about, really. I didn't care how he
He
hit him.
texted me as I drove in. Did you see the Batmobile?
Oh, see, now you gave it away.
That was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
It was very sweet. Doug Flutie was enlightening. He's got a lot of great stories, as those of you know. I think some of you have heard of him. And
Some past thing.
Yeah, something about that. I don't know about that. Saw
Hail.
Darren Flutie there. It was Dancing with the Stars, Josh.
Dancing with the Stars.
But it was a terrific interview, if I don't say so myself. Bill was involved. And we will get to Doug Flutie now. We thank you for listening to the Bill O'Brien podcast with a very special guest in our next 2 episodes. That's a little tease for you. 45 and 46, we'll have some things brewing. Josh and I are going on the road for episode 45.
That's right.
Next week, we'll get into that a little bit, and can't wait for you to listen. So enjoy Doug Flutie, everybody. Anything to say goodbye, Josh?
No, I'm looking forward to next week because basically we'll give it a little tease by saying hopefully we get some free swag.
I knew you were going to say that. Kevin Murphy, if you're listening. Steve Ciaccio.
I'm going to the source itself. I'm not going to Murph.
No, you should. You got to go to the big wigs at New Balance.
Big dogs.
The big dogs, yes.
Mr.
So
Davis.
set the table there, and we'll catch you again next week.
2025 Boston College football season tickets are sold out, but get on the wait list and get single game tickets today. Bill O'Brien and the Eagles are gearing up to host 7 games at Alumni Stadium this fall, including must-see matchups against 3 college football playoff teams, Notre Dame, Clemson, and SMU. Visit bceagles.com or call 617-552-GO-BC to secure single-game tickets today and get on the wait list.
All right, Bill. We've had Hall of Fame guests before, but there's levels of Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
We got the guy with the statue.
no question.
Doug Flutie, good to see you. How are
Good to see you. Yeah, Coach Bick, when they did the stat, Coach Bick reached over to me, whispered to me, I thought you had to be dead to have a statue of yourself. But
Not you.
I guess.
You, man, I have so many questions. We only have a little bit of time, but real quick, just thank you for doing this.
No problem.
I know you've been asked to do so many things over your time, and I appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate what you mean to BC football. It's massive, everything that you've done, not just obviously playing, but everything that you've done. Can you just tell us, real quick, because I think people don't really know the whole recruiting story, how you ended up at BC?
I'll tell you what, I was over my head. I was a small athlete, and I was an Ivy League type kid. Maybe New Hampshire, UNH, Holy Cross were recruiting me, and then Ivy League schools. And because there was a coaching change at BC and they were scrambling around trying to get athletes, they took a lot of local kids that year. And the 2 quarterbacks they really wanted went elsewhere. So real late in the recruiting season, they offered me. Because I was an athlete, that'll work out somewhere. We need to bring in a quarterback, but he's an athlete, he could work out somewhere else. Well, in the summer, I played in the Shriners All-Star game. And played very well, and they're like, okay, we'll leave the kid at quarterback and take a look. But even then, I still thought I was over my head and thought I'd never see the field coming in as a freshman.
How about that? That's amazing.
Just never thought. And we were talking earlier, one of the guys was kind of bragging about my story a little and saying, the only reason I was at that Penn State game that I got my first real opportunity was because I was a punt returner. Brian Brennan had a pulled hamstring.
No kidding.
And I had to travel
in case they needed
in case we needed me as a returner. So that was the only reason I traveled to Penn State. Then we were getting beat 38-0. The other guys hadn't been playing well, and they're like, put the kid in. And Coughlin's upstairs screaming, no, what are you putting him in for? He doesn't even know the offense. And every play, I'm like asking guys what they're running, what are we running? I'm just repeating, they're sending the plays in, and I'm just repeating play call. It was, all I'd ever done is run plays off cards so far.
Well, it's funny because you go back and you probably watched it on YouTube. I think it was Keith Jackson calling that game.
He was calling that game.
Wasn't he calling that game? And he said, well, we got Doug. You could tell he was going down the roster. I think Doug Flutie from Natick, Mass. But that was that must have been, do you look back at that and say, man, how did I even get that done?
And I knew this in that moment. I thought, first of all, I thought they were kidding. I didn't think they would seriously put me in the game. I was warming up. I still didn't think I was going in. But I remember jogging out on the field with the first play call, looking around, beautiful sunny day at Penn State, 85,000 people in the stands. I'm like, this is going to be it. This is going to be, I'm going to go out. Oh, this is the highlight because I'm going to crap the bed here and be done. But I can tell my grandkids that I played in front of 85,000 people at Penn State. That's what I was thinking.
And in the end, that probably that must have given you some confidence, though, right? That they did that. I mean, you made some plays, and I can do this.
Everybody, in the recruiting and everything else, everybody told me what I couldn't do, what it is, and it was my first chance to get on the field.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was the same game I've played all my life.
Yeah.
Rolled out to the left, the guy who's open, throw him the ball. Roll out to the right, guy's open, throw him the ball. Yeah, it was just. What I think the difference is that some guys that are really talented get nervous and the blinders go on.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like my playground, so I'm just out having fun and playing. And it was the same game I'd always played.
You had a unique throwing style that a lot of us, when I was growing up, not to age you, but you're a little bit older than me. And so we would mimic you in the backyard. Like, because it was a little bit of a...
Little loopy. Yeah.
But it was out quick, but it was... Who taught you how to throw? Did you just do that on your own?
I just picked up a ball and threw. I remember, I felt like I threw it a lot like I threw a baseball.
Yeah.
And my brother Bill was a quarterback, even going back to flag football and everything else, and had he was the bigger kid and I was the receiver. Yeah. And yet Bill was kind of mechanical, and I just pick up the thing, and it was just natural to rip and throw as hard. And I just did whatever was natural for me. And it really felt like throwing like I did a pitcher. A lot of times that back leg for me would whip up and over like a pitcher.
It did.
And that's just how I threw. No one really taught me. I did go to some quarterback camps where I learned a few little things, but everything I did, I was not great at being taught how to do something. It was like I had to figure it out for myself and figure out how I did it well.
Yeah, no doubt.
One guy that Bill mentioned earlier today was Barry Gallup, and he's had some health issues lately, but he was so instrumental in your development, your recruiting. Unbelievable family friend. What does Barry Gallup mean to you?
Barry's everything. Barry, I can picture him sitting in our living room the day I signed and he came. My dad looked him in the eye, and I thought, I'm over my head and all that. My dad looked him in the eye and goes, "You don't know what you're getting." And I'm like, my dad had more confidence in me than I had in myself.
How about that?
Barry I was a very quiet, shy kid.
Yeah.
And my years at Boston College, he was my confidant. He was a friend. He was you okay, Doug? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
What's going on? How you doing? Because even my freshman year, Gerard Phelan and I were roommates.
Yeah.
Well, Gerard had buddies who are all here today from Philly, and he left and got on lower campus as a freshman, got into there.
You were on
I
your
had
own.
a single my first semester as a freshman.
Really? He was gone.
And I'm a quiet kid, and I had zero friends that first semester. Like I'm just like, so.
How about that?
Barry was very, and then he's been a lifelong friend of the family and everyone else. Anything, and we all love the whole family.
He's awesome.
He's just
We're
awesome.
with him.
Yeah. No.
When do you think? When was it in your career where you were like, you know what, not to ask you to be selfish, but I'm a pretty special player? Was there a game where you were like, you know what, I'm on fire right now? Because I can remember so many games where you were just on fire, against the best of the best.
My sophomore year, we were playing Penn State at BC, and we got blown out. I threw for over 500 yards in 3 quarters.
That was amazing.
We threw for over 600 yards as a team.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's when it's like, I can do this. We can do something
win.
special.
Yeah.
And then sophomore year, if you went back, I threw a heck of a lot of interceptions. I threw a ton. So Coughlin cleaned that up for me over time. But the skills and the ability, knowing I belonged. My second start as a freshman was against Pitt, actually maybe third start. Pitt was number 2 in the country, Dan Marino, number 1 defense in the country, and we lit them up and almost upset them. And it was like, hey,
we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this. This is going to be fun.
That's cool.
41 years ago. Can you believe it's been 41 years since Miami?
I can't, because mentally I'm still 10 years old.
But every time you see that, and every time you replay that game, does it feel like, is it like a dream?
Which game is that? The Miami or
the Miami?
I figured you were talking Miami. The one thing I say about the Miami, and because we've talked about it for 40 years, and because it's been analyzed in the play and all that, I know just about every series of that game now. But from beginning to end, it was there was a game against North Carolina early in the year.
Yeah.
That was my most flawless, like my best. If you percentage or whatever graded me out.
Yeah.
But we had a couple of field goals in the third quarter, which pissed me off. And other than that, that game was just one of those that everything went right. We were just, It felt like 7-on-7.
Yeah,
you're
dicey.
just throwing a ball, dropping back, throwing. But the one revelation that came around, on the 35th anniversary, I'm doing interviews. And, we've talked about the play forever and ever and ever. Tight ends on the backside. There was a inadvertent whistle. I go over to the backside, say, hey, they're only rushing 3. Pete Casparillo was the backup. I go, get wide, go down the boundary. I might roll right and throw back. So I roll right. Someone's running at me. I throw the Hail Mary. Gerard catches it, blah, blah, blah. In the locker room, Pete Casparillo, hey, we had a shot. For 35 freaking years, we had a shot. We had a shot on the backside. We had a shot. Dougie, we had a shot. On the 35th anniversary, I see a different camera angle, and now I have a picture on my phone. He is all by himself at the 10-yard line on the backside. If I pull up and throw it to him, he walks in.
How about that? That's a great version of that.
That's
So the night I saw that, right, I did the interview and I saw the clip or whatever, I called Pete. I was like, Pete,
You were right.
you were right. You had a shot. He goes, yeah, Dougie, I would have dropped it. No, I would have dropped it.
When you made the transition to pro football, what was the relative to not being the biggest guy? Was there a difficulty? Was it a different, or did you just kind of, I can do this too?
It was a little tougher. Size of guys, throwing out of a well, having it look like they're. Yeah. We weren't in gun back then. Right. I was still under center.
How about that?
Still under center.
That's amazing.
So I'm trying to prove my biggest fault, and I played 5 years. I was a backup, blah, blah, blah. Went to Canada, lit it up. Regained my confidence, come back and play well. And the difference was this. I went to Canada, I started calling my own plays. And I realized what I did well and what I didn't do well.
Right.
And when my first time around in the NFL, I was trying so hard to please my coaches and do it the way they wanted it done and fit that,
model. But that's not really who you are.
It just didn't work.
Right.
Like, Dougie, it was a 3-step drop. Why'd you take 5? I don't know. But I took 5 because I backpedaled and I took 5 little choppy steps and I drifted and found a window to throw the quick out and I still threw it on time. That's why I didn't realize that's why I took 5, but that's what I did. No. So I realized I had to do.
You did backpedal a lot. You did backpedal out a lot.
The light bulb, I came back from Canada, I'm playing in Buffalo. It's a practice. Yeah. And it might have been 4 verticals and seam routes. And whatever, I missed a read, didn't see something, and coach was like, Joe Pendry's like, Dougie, run that again.
How about that?
I'm like, okay. I go, can I back out? He goes, what do you want to back? I go, if I back out, I see better. He goes, well, do it. Go. I backed out. I looked at safety left, snapped my hips, and stuck it in the seam going up the right. He goes,
how about that?
Do that. It was like.
So I'm going to tell you the story real quick about Bryce Young at Alabama. He backed out. Now, we were in the gun.
Yeah.
But he would back up from the gun. He wasn't the tallest guy in the world. And we were all like, what are you doing? Like, and he's like, Coach, I can see it better. We were all like, good. Back
That's
coaching.
It's vision. It's not just, it's initial vision.
Yeah.
But also, you feel where the passing lane is. You feel, the nose went this way. Here's a bigger gap. I can see better. And you're not thinking it.
Right.
You're just drifting and being a natural athlete and feeling it. Right. And then you get crap from the offensive line coach. Dougie, you're drifting too far left. You're putting pressure on my tackle.
You're out.
But so you dealt with that stuff. But it was night and day. When I started backing out, it just opened the field up.
You dealt with some guys like Raymond Berry, obviously. You had some issues there. Mike Ditka. Didn't that drive you nuts? Like, was there ever a point where you said, just stop coaching me, let me do my thing?
I didn't realize it. I felt like I was trying so hard to please these coaches.
But you're also a very thick-skinned guy. Like, you're not a very, like...
Right. I just want to do what they want me to do and wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
And I think I realized when I went to Canada that... You know what? I throw the ball pretty damn good falling away and drifting.
This is who I am.
It's like, and then moving around. It's like, this I do well, that I do well. Stay away from that. I found out or realized double moves.
Yeah,
I'm not great at them.
Right.
Because you got to do the pump fake, and I don't get separation from the line.
Right.
And then I can't see, and then I'm guessing, and all this other. There's just stupid little things that kept coming up.
Like you scrambled, obviously you were dropped. Like you dropped back.
Tom Coughlin taught me football.
Yeah.
Tom Coughlin taught me to read fronts, read coverage, where to go with the ball. I was really good at reading. my first day that Marty Schottenheimer took over in San Diego.
Yeah.
Marty had it in his mind that I couldn't play football. I was this athletic kid running around all over. That kid, I was 42 at the time Marty got there.
How about that? It's amazing.
But first day of practice, you know, you're doing blitz drill, you're doing this and that. The ball didn't touch the ground.
Right.
Everything was out on time, didn't touch the ground.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. And he walks over, he puts his arm, he goes, "You do a lot of things right." I'm looking at him like, I'm freaking 42 years old. I've been playing this game forever. So Tom Coughlin, though. Tom,
you always credit him.
No.
Yeah.
The first
Early in your
week,
career.
my first start was against Navy, and he put in kind of a watered down offense where I could move and run, and we got beat, and I didn't play well. And the next week we were playing Army. He came in, he brought me in on a Sunday after, and he's like, "I'm throwing everything at you. You're going to learn all the checks." And he did that. He pushed me from day one. That all the checks were in, everything, and I responded. And you know, he made sure I knew it.
Not to switch subjects, but real quick, because you and I talked about this, and not to get too personal, but I was down at the J Fund, and what Tom's done for, you know, kids with cancer and their families and all that. What you've done with your foundation for autism is incredible. Can you talk a little about that? Means a lot to me, you know, because I talked to you about my son.
So many families are afflicted and
raised
touched.
a ton of money.
Everybody has someone in their family with autism, and the numbers have just escalated and go through the roofs. And I've got my own theories about that. But it's been 27 years, and I think our number one achievement, really, we've raised a ton of money and we're doing great things now, like more than ever. I'm 20 years out of football and our foundation has grown and continued to expand, which amazes me. You know, I thought the popularity would wane, but the number one thing I think is we brought an awareness to it, and a lot of other foundations have taken off because of it, and a lot of kids are getting help, and a lot of the services they're getting is because of what we initiated long time ago. And I think the numbers are through the roof. But even a lot of kids that may or may not be classified as autistic are getting classified as because there's benefits now, and they can get the help. And that's the one thing I'll pat ourselves on the back for, is that we made a difference in that area.
No doubt. Incredible.
I said, you know, I had my career, I did a little broadcasting, all that, and I'm at the point where I always say, I want to do one more big thing in my life. One more big thing.
Yeah.
And my buddy's like, "You're doing it with the foundation."
No doubt.
And I'm like, I didn't really think of it that way.
It affected so many lives.
Yeah, you're hitting home runs there, Doug. No question about that. What do you make of the state of BC football now that they hired this guy next to us?
This guy, number one, great hire, unbelievable.
Appreciate it.
Like you saw the difference in the team right away. It's fun to watch. That's my first response was, we're competitive.
It's a big
We're not walking on the field with anyone and being outclassed. We're ready. You know, things happen, or turnovers, whatever. You lose games. That happens. But it's very encouraging, very exciting, and a lot of guys in the room started watching again. I made 3 games last year, and it's not like I avoid coming up or going to games, but I hadn't made 3 home games in a long time, and maybe part of the reason is it's just fun to watch. The other is that you made the effort to be here. But you know, we're all in the room talking, and it's exciting, and it's you know, it's a different game than we played for sure, and it's a different the whole from top to bottom. So God bless you for that, and we just wish you all the best.
Thank you, Doug.
Great days ahead. Before we let you go, I got to ask you. Took a picture next to your Batmobile. The Batmobile is here at Brayburn Country Club. Where did that come from?
And my wife, it was maybe the beginning of COVID or whatever, because it was quiet. We were in the house, and she's on her laptop. She's like, "Do you know you can build your own Batmobile?" I'm like, "What?" There's some website where this guy's licensed to build Batmobile, and that started it. And I joked about it for a year. And then I called the guy, and I'm like, this is really doable. You can build one. Then I realized the guy's going to take 4 years to build it. And I'm like, I'm already in. I got to go find one. And I found this one's an older one that I'm kind of fixing up now to sell, because after I started driving this one, a buddy of mine that built an absolute immaculate 1966.
Amazing.
Seriously, the one that he built, he spent $350,000 building. This one's probably worth about $150,000.
How about that?
And this one I'm fixing up to sell, and I'm going to keep that one for good now, because he said I had enough of it and he sold it to me, so I have that down to floor. That's like a showpiece. This one's one I drove this car from Florida to Boston with not an issue. This car, I'm like,
Are you kidding?
I
That's
drive
amazing.
the stupid things. It's just fun.
Do you have 3 of them? Do you have one?
I have the '89 Michael Keaton one, which is a badass looking.
So that's the actual one they used.
No, they're all replicas.
Okay.
But this one in the parking lot out here is off the original mold, so it's identical. The Michael Keaton one, like machine guns come up out of the hood and they fire little flames and bang like a freaking machine gun. They got a flame. I got a flame going out the back like 7 to 8 feet out, like going down the road. This one doesn't have the flame. My other one has a flame. It just it's fun.
I want to know what's the miles per gallon on this.
This one's legit. This one's got the 5.0 Mustang engine in it. It's on a Lincoln Chassis. It's a car.
All right.
So that gets good gas mileage. The one that my buddy built that spent a fortune on, it's kind of a hot rod, so it's probably more like 15 miles a gallon, 12 miles a gallon. The Michael Keaton one, which is just a machine, not really a car.
Yeah.
But I drive it. I drive that out on the highway. I'll get up to 70 miles an hour.
Imagine you see that like a New Jersey Turnpike.
That's awesome. What about?
I came up. No, I didn't come up the Pike. I valeted out because I wanted to go to. I took it to Gettysburg.
Oh, did you really?
I pulled around and I brought it up like a Pickett's Charge and parked it coming up. Parked it in front of Lee coming up the hill.
How about are you still playing in a band?
Our band still plays.
Play the
Darren,
drums?
my brother.
Yeah.
I'm a drummer. Been a drummer since I was 12 years old.
That's awesome.
Darren plays guitar.
It's
The
amazing.
guys always come down to Florida around 4th of July week, and we play a bunch of stuff down there. And
That's great.
It's the thing I say about that is, even if you have a bad night, they don't know it.
Yeah.
And you never lose, and you don't get beat up.
That's right. That's right.
There's nothing he can't do.
No,
I mean, it's what a
You've
life.
done it all.
It
What a
just-
life.
Like I said, I'm 10 years old. I never, and my brother, I heard Darren say this in an interview once. He said, yeah, Doug never wanted to have a real job. He wanted to play football and then do whatever, but he doesn't want to sit. I never wanted to sit in an office and just grind. And
But
I've been fortunate
your
enough.
attitude on life, like, because at the Patriots, a lot of guys. I came right after him, but
One of the great Patriot moments ever was the drop kick.
And Bill would talk about him and Brady and his attitude on life. He just like he never got down. He's a very positive guy, and so like that's how he wasn't a. That's how they would always describe him. I think that's why he's done so many different things in his life.
Did you learn a lot from Belichick?
I don't know that I learned much from Bill. I was like 43 at that point, and I didn't want to piss him off. That was basically, you ready? All time, now look, I'm 43. I'm backing up Brady. I've got the pom-poms out all year, just cheering. Win me a ring, Tom. Let's go. We're going to, give me a friggin' ring, Tommy. Right? So we're at Pittsburgh, and I'm on the sideline. I'm doing nothing. And there's some go route or something. I'm watching the ball flight go down, and the referee runs into me on the sideline. All right? And he grabs for the flag, turns, he sees it's me, and shakes his head and leaves the flag in his pocket and whatever. And the whole night, all right? Tom had an unbelievable fourth quarter, by the way. 14 straight completions, come back from 2 touchdowns down. We win the game, whatever, at Pittsburgh. All I can think of is film session. Oh, my God. Oh, Bill's going to see this. And I can hear Bill in the meeting. Freaking Flutie, we can't put you on the field. We can't even put you on the sideline. Get that. What do you want me to do? Do you want to stay in the lot? You're costing us 15 freaking. That's all I'm hearing in my head all night long until we. And Bill never saw it. I don't know if he saw it.
But he didn't want
saw it, but he didn't say anything and let it go.
He's good.
But that's the fear of Bill. It's
So
like
I got to tell this story. So when I got there, Vinny Testaverde was there. So we go into a meeting, preseason game, and Vinny's going to start the game. We're playing like the second preseason game. Vinny's 40-something years old.
yeah.
Bill gets up and Bill goes, all right, Vinny, who's the Mike linebacker of the Carolina Panthers? You've been in these meetings. So Vinny had a briefcase. He brought a briefcase into every, like he was a businessman briefcase. So he goes into his briefcase, opens it up. The whole team's waiting. He pulls out his reading glasses. And he looks at his scouting report and he says, Joe Smith, the whole team cried laughing. Because those guys, like Bill veteran
put you on the spot. You better have read your scouting report before you come to this
I've been
meeting.
doing this forever.
I've got one hero moment from scouting report. But I made them enlarge the type on my wristband because I couldn't read it in the huddle.
No kidding.
It was getting to the point where I'm going to pull freaking readers out and start reading my wristband in the huddle because it's dark. In the meeting, it's no big deal. But in the huddle, it was darker, and I'm like, I couldn't read it. But my crowning moment at the whole time that everybody, the drop kick was my only play. But we're in meeting, and I don't want to get too technical, but all the blitz zones and all that.
Yeah.
I always just threw the backside hitch or the backside quick out because there's always a rotation of coverage.
Quick throw.
And I treated that as my hot. Instead of throwing through an unblocked guy, I'd fade away from the unblocked guy and throw that.
Thank you.
Okay?
There you go.
I did it.
I'm going to play this pod for our quarterbacks.
I did it my whole life.
That's how I coach it. Just take the hitch.
Just take the hitch, right? So the only thing that throws a wrench in that is Sam will blitz zone 2.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trap it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're all over.
So the corner's going to be rolled. So I always, first thing I checked for on the scouting report was that. And I just kind of peeked it for a second. I sit in the meeting, and Belichick, Tom, what's their change-up third down blitz, their nickel blitz? And I don't know what he said, Sam Mike or something. And he's like, Castle, what's their da-da-da? No idea. Flutie, Sam Will, blitz zone 2. You got it. I looked at it on the whole report. I got it.
You got it.
And the whole room lit up because Tom didn't know. Right,
You
Tom
got
did. And but I didn't know anything else.
That's pretty good.
Couldn't tell you who the Mike linebacker
awesome.
was.
That is awesome.
Couldn't tell you who the free
Great
safety
story.
was.
We could talk to him for hours.
All day.
All day. We're going to have you on again soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Doug
Comes
Flutie,
back
great
up.
to see you, man.
Thank you,
Best of luck
Thanks,
to your
guys.
family, too.
Appreciate it.